So far this week, we have seen Donald Trump be triggered by the two people who live rent-free in his head the most. Barack and Michelle Obama. Their speeches have sent Donald Trump spiraling. But on top of that, the person who I think might be third on that list in terms of upsetting Donald Trump has called him out in a devastating fashion, dropping an absolute truth bomb on him, and that is George Conway, who in an interview this morning not only spared and absolutely shut down a Trump support, but has enraged Donald Trump with his incredible takedown, and we are going to get into all of that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. Now, let's get into George Conway absolutely shutting down a Trump supporter live on air.
Whitsett, North Carolina. Mark on the Trump-Vance line. You're on with George Conway.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disturbed about the double standards you're applying on what you're saying. For example, you dismissed Joe Biden's comments about calling all of Trump's supporters garbage, and that's what he said.
He did not say that, caller. He did not. He did not. He said that the racism, the disgusting comments about Hispanics were objection. I read the quote too, sir. You're just wrong, and I know you want to believe that's what he said. But by the way, he's not running for president. The other guy is.
Mark, did you want to respond?
To call Trump a fascist, calling his supporters fascist. I'm not a fascist. I'm a freedom-loving Republican. And for you to say that Trump supporters are fascist is just wrong.
I didn't say Trump supporters are fascist. I think they may be supporting a fascist. Sir, okay, I was a Republican from 1980 to 2018. Okay? I don't want to see a Republican Party led by a fascist, but he is a fascist. He cannot help but be a fascist. His personality disorders make him a fascist. He does not care about anyone else. He does not care about the rule of law. He does not care about justice. He does not care about right and wrong. He's a criminal. He's a convicted criminal, 34 counts. He stands charged with many other counts on which I really don't think he has much of a defense. He's an adjudicated sexual abuser found by a New York City jury that included, frankly, people north of the city who were probably Republicans, unanimously found him liable for inserting his hand, in a physical assault, inserting his fingers in a woman's vagina, which the judge called rape. He is, by any colloquial standard, a rapist. Okay? He is a bad man. And why all of you out there seem to want to excuse him and pretend that reality is something other than what it is and what you want it to be is the problem. And I don't say that you're garbage because of that. I think you need to look in the mirror someday and start thinking about, is this man the man you want your children or your grandchildren to emulate?
Just an absolute perfect shutdown from George Conway. And the fact that anyone wants to argue over the faux outrage that MAGA is pretending to have over President Biden saying the comedian who told that disgusting joke about Puerto Rico, and rest of the vile things Trump supporters said at Donald Trump's Madison Square Garden rally, the fact that conservatives want to pretend to be upset about that when Trump is constantly calling America garbage and a garbage can is absolutely ridiculous to me, and that media bias that I'm talking about was perfectly called out by George Conway right here.
If newspapers never made endorsements, which some people believe they shouldn't, this is the time for them to make an exception. And these three news organizations are going the other way. And I have to say, it is very reminiscent of what has happened in countries where there have been authoritarian takeovers in the past. People don't want to incur the wrath of a vindictive government. And
Jeff Bezos argued yesterday in his op-ed that this is a step towards increasing trust in newspapers, saying now, according to the latest Gallup poll, newspapers are below Congress in trust.
What can I use? I don't want to use the word I want to use. This is C-SPAN, right? That's garbage, okay, to use milder word. because he's owned this paper for a long time. He could have taken this position 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, okay? And he did not. And it just so happens that this man has business with the federal government that he doesn't want disturbed, and he has his own employees at his Blue Origin, or whatever the name of his, meeting with Donald Trump the day this gets into the newspaper. Okay, he has zero credibility. Okay, he has zero credibility on this. And you see it, I mean, essentially what you are seeing, I mean, it is like Lenin's adage that the capitalists will sell us the rope with which they will hang him. The same is true of fascists. And Donald Trump is, definitionally a fascist. And I hate to say that, and it's something I never thought I would come to that conclusion. But you look at the pages of history, and there's no question. And what people are doing, what these corporations are doing, is that they're putting, financial interests, momentary financial interests, above the interests of the public. Well, you buy a newspaper, you're providing a public service. It may be for profit, but you have the right, you have an obligation to provide truthful information and to give truthful guidance to people. And if you cannot take that heat, you should not own the newspaper. You should sell that newspaper.
Anyone who watches our show regularly knows how much I want to talk about the fact that this idea that liberals are in control of the media, or that the media is biased towards the left, is so ridiculous when the biggest news network, news in quotes, is Fox. They have the largest cable channel. Joe Rogan is the biggest podcast, followed by Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. We have billionaires not allowing their newspapers to make endorsements of Kamala Harris because they want giant tax cuts and are afraid of Donald Trump. The media is not biased in favor of Democrats. It's clearly right-leaning, and more than just leaning, it's right-shifting every single day, and we need to call that out, and it's what George Conway continued to do right here.
Kamala Harris is essentially being nitpicked, whereas, Donald Trump can say, I want to, just off the cuff, say, I want to eliminate all federal taxes, which is insane. And yet, people are worried about what people are saying. Well, Kamala Harris was very, very unclear about what her policy on kumquat farming in California was. It really is just a double standard, which is created by the fact that we've been watching an absolute, frankly, lunatic who knows virtually nothing about politics, economics, foreign policy, even after all these years. And he's held to a lower standard because he has brought standards down for himself. But somehow or another, the standards for everyone else remain the same.
It is such great messaging when we are able to talk about not only the failures of Donald Trump's policy positions from the point of view of his lack of understanding of policy, but his real cognitive decline. The reason Donald Trump likes to talk about tariffs is he can just throw the word around without being checked because he knows that he can't really speak in complete sentences anymore. So if he were to have to elaborate on policy positions, it would be an absolute nightmare. It's the reason here, fear, wonder about immigration. It's the reason he wants to talk about energy and just say drill, baby, drill, because he can only speak in catchphrases and simple sentences anymore. And the simple sentences don't represent real or substantive PLS. That's why Kamala Harris is calling them out right here.
On the other hand, Donald Trump's answer to the financial pressures you face is the same as last time. Another $1 trillion in tax cuts for billionaires and big corporations. And this time, he will pay for it with a 20% Trump national sales tax on everyday basic necessities, which will cost the average American family nearly $4,000 more a year. On top of that, you will pay even more if Donald Trump finally gets his way and ends the Affordable Care Act.
We have already seen Donald Trump crash our economy. Once we do not need to see it again. Elon Musk, a supporter of Donald Trump, someone who's trying to buy him votes with million-dollar checks in Pennsylvania, even admitted that the first couple years of a Trump administration would bring economic hardship. That was the word he used because of Donald Trump's terrible plans. Even they know that. But why do they want to do it? Because it'll be beneficial to the 1%, big tax cuts for the rich. That's what they care about. And that's what we need to call out. And of course, George Conway has been doing a great job calling that out. But he's also been going after Donald Trump with his anti-psychopath pack. and we have to take a look at one of my favorite ads from them.
Donald Trump is rattled.
The Trump crowd is smaller than the Harris-Walz crowd was.
He's mad.
Trump was complaining that an estimated 10,000 people were at Harris's event.
He's upset.
The school administration stopped us from getting another 500, 600, even 1,000 people in.
Oh, Donald, do you ever stop whining?
Kamala, she was here a week ago, lots of empty seats.
Not enough people want to go to his rallies anymore. They want to go to Kamala Harris's rallies. Enjoy the rallies while they last, Donald, because where you're going, you're not going to be able to have any. Learn more at psychopac.org.
I have absolutely loved the anti-psychopath pack, and I know that Donald Trump has the opposite feelings towards them in George Conway, and why we love him because it's good to get him off his game, and we need to continue to in the final days of this election, and is what we're going to be talking about every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, you can leave a like on this video, and if you're stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you soon.